Welcome back to the unofficial review. I'm Seeds, and this is my football review. Today I'm going to be talking about Richard Sherman's unnecessary roughness, no call, all that ordeal. Pretty much just want to address kind of my perspective, my first instincts, and then to me what I think actually happened and so forth. But yes, because there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of people calling it a dirty call, a lot of people saying this and that or whatever. And again, it's one of those things where I want to do my best to be unbiased as I've come out. I'm a Seahawk fan, so I'm going to be a little biased because, he's playing for us. It's one of those things where, a lot of people don't like Tom Brady from a football perspective because of the association. But the one thing that I've been honest with is that, to New England, he's the hero. Regardless to what, the rest of the NFL fan teams, bases think, is that Tom Brady's the hero to New England. So, it's, Rich Sherman's the hero to Seattle fans, regardless to how he's depicted to other people. But anyhow, I'm going to just go right out the gate. And my first gut instinct when I saw the play happening itself was I thought it was unnecessary. I did think that he was being kind of a bit of a dick move. That being said, once I came back and I kind of thought about the what ifs and so forth, it kind of dawned on me was that honestly it was a smart move. Because one of the things that I after it was all said and done, I was trying to make sense of it, and Richard Sherman, while he's been known for being mouthy and as people call him polarizing, he's not known for being a bully. So it wasn't a bully. He's not known for being a dirty player. He's not known for trying to hurt people. He's not known for taking it to that extent. And it's not like it's his second year or his third. I want to say it's like his sixth. So he's had a pretty stout resume of I'm not ever doing this. Then again, too, you look at the Bills, you look at the kicker. There's no, it's one of those things where, okay, if it was Michael Crabtree in a 49er uniform following this, Super Bowl 48, so that would make much more sense. That the room for giving him the benefit of the doubt would be almost all non-existent. But being that there's no reason to think that he was intentionally trying to hurt this guy, people calling it a dirty play, it really kind of, to me, diminishes the concept of how you entitle a dirty play. Because I've seen people who are trying to hurt other guys. I've seen guys just be vindictive. You saw Burfitt last year in the playoffs against Cincinnati. You see Pac-Man Jones hit on Antonio Brown. That was retaliation for an injury that one of the Steelers players has inflicted on the Cincinnati Bengals. And so that type of behavior would suggest a dirty player. But to say after one blocked punt, it's unnecessary. And that's, to me, as they have identified it, and as a few collective minds have identified it, where the real fall or the failure was the officials, not just with the following 5 seconds they gave him to kick the field goal and that messed up, and it kind of emphasized this roughing the kicker. But really, what they messed up was the not blowing it dead. One of the things they said that some of the people are trying to retaliate or attack Sherman have said, they did blow it dead. Well, as they've pointed out, when they blew it dead, he had already blocked or had already attempted the block on the kick. So it's a day late and a dollar short. So just because that's the thing is you see all the other players, including the kicker, continue the play. So again, it's just one of those things where, as I saw it, you don't want to give the kicker a free shot because couldn't they in fact just, if he had just gone offsides and stood there, they'd kick the ball. Couldn't they have just as simply denied the offsides and gotten the free field goal? So it's one of those things where it's like you're not going to give him a free shot. If you're going to get a penalty and the guy's going to get another chance anyways, you might as well prevent them getting a free shot, especially when you see the 26, 28-yard field goals that the kickers have been missing. And so it's just one of those things where you never want to give anything away for free, especially in the NFL. And so honestly, I think it was a very smart play, it was a very aware play where he knew that this could, him just assuming that they're going to get the kick and just not getting out of the way, because it was one of those things where it's like, I'm not disqualified from the play. Again, the other 21 guys are still playing the down. Why shouldn't he? So it's one of those things. And then again, too, one of the other attacks that I saw somebody, a football analyst, talking about was that they said because of the trajectory he was going for his legs. Because of the trajectory, really? That's your excuse of why suddenly, for no reason, that in the middle of the year against the Buffalo Bills, not a rival or conference team for that matter, why he suddenly decided to make this dirty play because he was intentionally going, based on what? You could tell from his hesitation that he knew he went offside for a second and the play wasn't blown dead, everyone played, so he went. So that's the first and foremost. Do you think in a split second he's like, I'm going to suddenly make a dirty play? Haven't done it in my entire career. I'm going to suddenly make a dirty play. Again, is that a rational thought? No. Let's go to the next part of it. Because of the trajectory, I'm pretty sure that because of the trajectory of the ball whenever it's thrown in any given Sunday, that's where it's going to land. But guess what? It does not always land where the quarterback wants it. Is it perhaps that when he jumped to block the ball, as you see his hands go to make contact with the ball, and in fact move the ball before it was even kicked, how is that going for his legs? Is that just a happy coincidence? Oh, because that's the other thing too, is where are this guy's legs that he's supposedly going for? They're associated with the ball? Is it possible, based on every other blocked kick, that that's maybe where he was going? That his legs happening to be there was part of the collateral damage? This isn't the first time a kicker's been run into, so let's stop acting like it. It's just annoying because it's one of those things where call it for what it is. Yes, it should have been penalized. Yes, the officials screwed the royal pooch. But why the hell is Richard Sherman taking flack? Because the officials don't know how to call calls. And then first and foremost, the kicker's wife goes on Instagram or some shit and starts talking about how if you want to, I think it was a hashtag, if you're going to act like an animal, you're going to get treated like an animal. Well, Mrs. Carpenter, I'd like to say something to your husband. If you want to act like a football player, then play like a football player. And that's taking a hit, bitch. So if you want to start calling things and this and that, whatever. But being hit in an NFL game comes with a freaking territory. So shut the hell up. My gosh. Anyhow, I'm getting a little emotional because people, I'm just tired of ignorance being the loudest freaking voice. Holy crap. Anyhow, so yes, it should have been penalized, but was not a dirty play. It was a very smart, intelligent play. So again, it's just one of those things where, and that's the thing too, is I'll remind you, how many times in games you'll even hear the reference free play. What that is essentially that the defense has caused a penalty. The refs have not blown the play dead, and therefore the offense knows that they can just throw a Hail Mary. And if it gets picked off, guess what? Doesn't matter. We got a penalty, so we get another shot. It's called a free shot. And that's what it would have been if Richard Sherman had not prevented that kick from going in. So say whatever the hell you will. I really don't care what other people's opinions are. But call for what it is. You know, have some validity. If you're going to accuse him of being a dirty player or making a dirty play, have some validity. Have something to back it up other than your harsh, clearly clouded opinion of him, and how you just want to go in and just assume that it was meant to be a dirty play. It wasn't a dirty play. It wasn't meant to be a dirty play. Again, if you analyze the rules and how it's implemented and so forth, again, he played a very smart play. You know, and like I said, at first, my gut instinct, because I would have thought it was blown dead, but then it started dawning on me, well, they could deny the penalty. They could have just acted, yeah. I mean, what really happened was the officials, no doubtedly, and I've already discussed that in previous episodes, where the officials, like I said, that was the other thing too, was when that happened, and because that's the thing is maybe because some of the coverage of that call, some of the speculation that they said was that because it was in Seattle and it was super loud and intense, that just the moment they weren't ready for the moment. But I'm just like, how many years, how many games have these guys coached in? I'm not ready for a moment because I'm yelling. I mean, maybe, but honest to goodness, it felt like the Bills, or not the Bills, but the refs were really trying to prevent the Bills from getting those points. I'm a Seahawks fan, and I'm going out and saying that. It did seem like the refs were trying to help us. You know, and like I said, who's the bigger market in that situation? Seattle or the Buffalo Bills? Guess what? Seattle. So again, this is definitely, and then again, this is around the time I said that was week 9, and that was the 8th game of Seattle's schedule. So again, we're going into the back half of the season. I would expect maybe not as blatant as the 5 seconds they gave him to kick the ball. That was really just kind of a, I don't even know how to chalk that up, because it's just kind of seemed, again, that was one of the things too, is going back to my episodes on the Clockgate involving the Patriots, where they got extra time. Again, this is like, okay, so you see clock issues with the Patriots, and they're given extra time. Just kind of, here, have some more. What? A few more? Okay, totally. Then you see the Bills, and they get 5 seconds. It's like they get screwed out of 20 seconds instead of being given 20 seconds. And again, you look at the Bills, you look at the Patriots. Who do you think the NFL wants to do better financially? Because who's going to help them more financially? There's where you get the call. So again, it's just one of those things where, and that's really was unfortunate. I kind of had my stomach in knots for the rest of the half of that game, because, you know, it did feel tainted. It did feel like, and one of the things I told myself was, you know, hopefully we win by more than 3. But at the end of the game, after it was all said and done, and I was wondering if anyone was going to point this out, which I think a few people did, which was that if they had gotten those 3 points that they should have gotten, then there would have been a 3-point game, which means at the very end of the game they could have most definitely, probably, not guaranteed, because again they had to make the field goal, but probably would have at least pushed it into overtime. So again, it doesn't mean it's no cut and dry. It would have been a loss, it would have been a one, and so forth. But it definitely did not hurt Seattle having these BS calls go their way. And again, too, like I said, look at the markets. Who's a bigger market? Because there's your call. Yes, it was just very unfortunate. It's one of the things too where I think that was another big part of it was that people again kind of I think throw this into the category of dirty plays and so forth because of Richard Sherman's behavior afterwards. Him staring down Rex Ryan, him. I think it was, and again too. This is to me a lot of the stuff that's going around Richard Sherman at this time with this play really was just circumstantial to just make it look horrible. Because again, when you look at the actual play, if they hadn't been delayed not delayed, but if they hadn't had that delay of game call that pushed them back 5 yards and then they missed the field goal, if they hadn't had that and then made the field goal or whatever, or not even just didn't, if they just hadn't had that penalty, I don't think it would have been nearly as bad. And again, too, later, and again, this is one of the reasons why I take issue with how the NFL covers itself is they create a lot of the drama. Because again, too, there's a point where at the very end of the game, last play of the game, again, they were trying to say that he made this dirty play where he didn't have to be as physical, where he knocked a receiver on his ass. But again, what it was too was like again, this is how the rules are, and that's the thing too is these guys, not just Sherman, not just the Seahawks, but cornerbacks are trained to do that because again, how the rules are stated is that once the quarterback goes out of the pocket, they're blockers because they could help him run, and Tyrod Taylor does run. So again, you're actually allowed to do that. But it looked bad because of what happened at the half. And again, too, Rex Ryan himself said, I thought it was worse when it happened. After I saw that it wasn't that bad. And so again, I think that's one of the reasons why he was looking him down. I think that's one of the reasons why he gave that wide receiver a little extra juice because I'm sure he would have pushed him back a little bit because again, that's what they're supposed to do. But I wouldn't have been shocked if that last shove at the end for the final play was him just kind of getting his feelings out, kind of like, screw you, call me a dirty player, I'll let you, it's one of those things where he was playing to the rules. And that was the thing too, is that Sherman, again, like I've had an episode talking about how Sherman is disgusted with how the NFL has made football no longer fun. And so he's like, all right, well, if you can't beat him, join him, right? I mean, that was kind of at least the feeling I got a little bit with some of the stuff that went on with that, again, with the blocking the kick and so forth, was he knew how the rules were worded and he knew how the rules were implemented. And so he, again, like he said, he made smart plays. And again, it was one of the things where he, I don't say manipulated the rules, but again, it was one of those things where he's like, there's nothing saying I can't do this, and so forth, and if this is how the NFL is going to treat the game, then I'm going to play within however they want it to be played. And so he kind of was just kind of like, all right, everything he did, like I said, and that was the thing too, was that, yes, it was just frustrating, especially being a Seahawks fan and having people call him a dirty player or that it was a dirty play, because it wasn't. It was just more or less that the refs messed it up. And then again too, the Bills responded as if he had meant to like cut the guy's brakes and so forth, and as if he had meant to hurt him, which he hadn't. And so he responded emotionally, as we saw him in the NFC Championship respond. And so it's just one of those things where, and that's the thing too, is that you can definitely say that Richard Sherman is, without a doubt, an emotional player. He's one of those guys who's going to get under people's skins. As they put it, is if you're a Seahawks fan, you love him. If you're not, you hate him. I don't blame people for hating Richard Sherman, because yes, he can definitely get under your skin and he can do stuff like this that ruffles you up. But yeah, so I just want to clear the air and bring some light to it. It's not just, because that's the thing, is obviously from a Seahawks fan perspective, I want it to not be a dirty play, but I needed to review, and like I said, that's why I felt sick for the second half of that game, was that my first instinct was that it was dirty. But once I slowed down and I saw it for what it was, and I looked at the rules, and I looked at how the whistle wasn't blown until the kick was going on and so forth, you give him a free kick. So as he put it, you play till the whistle's blown. Because again, how many times have you seen guys where they got up because no one touched them, or the whistle wasn't blown, and so somebody gets essentially a free play, you'll run in the end zone with nobody defending you because they all think it's dead, and lo and behold, it's not. So it's just one of those things where you can't leave anything on the table when you're playing an NFL game. So from that perspective, Richard Sherman's just being competitive. But yes, again, this is more so to me a reflection of the officials and their lack of proper officiating. Anyhow, I'll be talking, I'm sure, lots more about drama in this circle. Like I said, this is the second half of the season. I'm thinking that we're going to start seeing more and more of these blatant calls go bigger markets ways. So let's see.